It's no secret that I am a lover of retro wrestling figures, especially that of the KWK Kayfabe Heroes. And today we have two new figures to add to our collection. I picked up the blue and yellow carded Ox Baker, and we're going to take a look at these in depth. I mean, I don't think you guys realize how good these figures are, so stay tuned. All right, so here's one that I'm excited about. First off, I've said it 1,000 times. I love the KWK Kayfabe Heroes. I love their style. I love the things that they do. I love that they're not overly shiny. I love that more matte finish that they have on there. They've started to add that gloss and such, but not to the level of other indie companies. Plus, I love their selection of talent. A lot of deep cuts, but in a fun way. And this is one of those, right? Ox Baker. This is a man who has not had a blessed action figure career. Now, I will be completely honest with you. I am not too familiar with Ox Baker's body of work. Have I heard of Ox Baker? Of course. Do I have his Legends of Professional Wrestling from FTC? I do. I don't think I have it complete, but I do have like the figure itself. I had it since I was a kid. Got it at a local comic shop called Tem D. They used to get those in, and I thought it was pretty cool because of his facial hair, his eyebrows, and stuff like that. But this, to me, is his first true collectible, right? This thing is just really doing him justice, and there's 4 different versions of it. I got these two. We've got the red variant and the black variant, but I also have this. This is a factory sample of the figure, and I'm excited about this because we're going to compare the factory sample to the final production piece so I can show you the things that Sean N. and the good people over at KWK, how much love and attention they put into their stuff, man. It's always fun to see. Sometimes in pictures, it doesn't do it justice, but very luckily for me, I have this sample right here, and I'm going to show you what makes these stand out and separates them from this. But the carding is traditional retro carding, right? That Hasbro style, each one with a different color scheme to it to differentiate each variant. So we have the blue variant, yellow variant. Blue comes in the red pants. We've got yellow in the black pants. I just think the contrast works for those. Signature on there, which is pretty cool. No action feature. Nice little portrait of Ox Baker on there. On the back, each figure is the same. As you can see, right? Everything's the same, just different colors. And we're going to take a look at this. So they actually add some stats in here for these guys, which I think is pretty cool. We got Ox Baker, 6 feet 6 inches. So he's a tall boy. Weight, 320 pounds. Born April 19th, 1934 from Sedalia, Missouri. NWA Hall of Fame in 2014. NWA United States Heavyweight Champion. NWA World Tag Team Champion. NWA South Heavyweight Champion. And WWC Universal Heavyweight Champion. As you can see on the back, these have all been released, all but Berserker and Bull Nakano so far. But I mean, they are really building a nice army of professional wrestlers here. Pretty cool to see. So far, that would make this their 13th figure release, and that's not including variants. My favorite part of the packaging, I talk about it every time, is right here. Special thanks to Inside the Rope, blah, 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 blah. And then it says right there, the FIGHEEL. So shout out to them for allowing me to have a hand in the production process by, consulting and giving my opinion and asking my opinion. So we're going to take a look at it right now. So over here we have the red one, which is what we have the factory sample of. At first glance, I'll tell you the thing that separates this the most from the production one is the bottom of the feet. So as you can see on the production one, it has KWK brand 2025 all rights reserved. The factory sample does not. It makes it a little bit more easy to spot. I'm sure somebody could probably easily get some nail polish remover and get that off the foot. But this came right from Sean, so I do know that this is a sample. Now, the one thing that really stands out from all of it is I've noticed that a lot of the paint on the final production pieces is much better. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if you take a look at the figure itself, you'll notice some spots of the painting where it's almost like see-through, right? And you can kind of see the plastic underneath the actual paint app on this white. It's almost like slightly has a lower opacity, so you can see through the paint, on the whites especially. Now, for the figure, the final piece, the white is much brighter, it's more solid, and we're not having that discrepancy in actual paint patterns. That's huge. Also, chest hair. You'll notice the same thing with the chest hair, right? There is a little bit more of opacity to see the actual flesh tone underneath the chest hair. Plus, there is some like areas where it's not as crisp. Over on this one, you'll notice it's just slightly darker and actually has a little bit more of that chest hair feel on it. You'll notice here, something like the blue line here on the boot. A little messy, right? Almost like a blurred line right there. You're right. The final piece, pretty crisp lines across the board on each side. The laces, much thicker, you'll notice. See how thin? And you can see the black casted plastic underneath those white laces. Actually, that's not casted plastic, but you can see the black underneath them that they painted over the black paint. This one, look, much thicker, crisper, whiter and brighter, solid lines. Over here, the last thing I want to talk about, the eyes. Okay, so notice that the eyes, in that very Hasbro fashion, we have the whites and then the pupils with a little line over top in typical Hasbro fashion. And that right there has some creases in the nose of the sculpt, but the eyes, I mean, they're not perfect, right? The top lines, they cleaned them up on the final version, as you can see. The eyes are a little bit darker, a little more solid circle, and that line over top is much more visible and traces the actual almond shape of the eye. So, first off, my favorite of the Oxbakers is right here in the red, so I'm stoked about this one. Does not come with the accessories that it was originally shown to have, and that's because of cost-cutting measures, and honestly, I'm all for it. If we can get cheaper figures on the indie realm, by all means, take away the accessories. Now right here, the black, you'll notice that he comes with the red, white, and blue stripe down the side. Nothing on the back, but he does have the blue boots here. Very, very cool. And we're going to open this one, actually. So we're going to rip into this one and take a look at it. Right there. So same thing. Nothing on the back. Those light navy boots are very, very cool, right? They could have easily just used the same paint right here, but I like this dull finish on this. I always will prefer a more dull finish just because it gives that prototype vibe. So, side by side, I think you can see a little bit better what I was saying about the chest hair. Hopefully that picks up on camera. You can see it's a little bit more fluid and true to form on the actual figure. Same thing with the elbow pad. I'm hoping it's picking up on, but you can almost like see the plastic underneath on the sample, whereas the final production, it's all white, baby. Same thing, these lines are super clean and crisp. You'll notice that the lines on the boots, super clean, white and bright. There is the printing on the bottom of the foot. And last but not least, let's look at these faces. Look at that. You'll also notice, check out the mustache, okay? You'll notice that the sample has like a glossier mustache, whereas this one is a little bit more faded, right? It's a little bit more matte finish. Trying to get a good focus on there. If we can get some lighting, but very, very cool figure, especially for Oxbaker, who does not have enough. You know what would be a really cool form factor for Oxbaker? I think the AWA Remcos would be pretty cool for him. So these are available so many places, guys. I mean, Shop KWK. I'm talking jjfigures.com, the asylumwrestlingstore.com. So many places you can get them, and I will put all of those in the description below with direct links for you guys. Also, if you decide that you want to purchase from jjfigures.com, use code FIGHEEL, save 10%. So after having both in hand, loose, I got to say I'm going with the red still, but this black is pretty sweet with the red, white, and blue lines on the side. So Hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you for joining me. Peace. Are you a wrestling figure collector of WWE Mattel, AEW Jazzwares, and everything in between? Then you need FIGHEEL's Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia, the modern edition covering all releases from 2010 to present day. Featuring over 7,000 photos of action figures from the hottest brands, including independent toy makers. Keep track of what you have, want, and need, including loose, mock, and overall collection value. With figure photography by Matthew Goldberg, the Wrestling Figure Encyclopedia is a must-have for collectors. Full-color paperback and hardcover editions available now at HeelBooks.com. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at FIGHEEL. Pick up my book series on Amazon and my merchandise on ProWrestlingTees.com/FIGHEEL. Join my official sponsor, Whatnot, at WhatHeal.com and receive $15 off your first purchase.